Let us begin today's session now. We have a good turnout, it seems. Um, so on behalf of D Globalist, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar on European business expansion and mobility for founders. I'm Shivani, and I will serve as your moderator for today's insightful discussion. Our distinguished panel of D Globalist partners from the EU region and the entire D Globalist team is here to guide you on your European expansion plans. And we have them available today on this webinar with a wealth of knowledge and experience in respective regions and domains. They will be shedding light on the unique opportunities present in business ecosystems in Germany, Italy, Bulgaria, Cyprus, and Lithuania. So throughout the webinar, we will gain valuable insights into the legal, regulatory, and cultural aspects of operating businesses in these countries. I would encourage you all to actively engage with our panelists by asking your questions, sharing your thoughts during the Q&A session, which we're holding in about 20 to 30 minutes. Your participation is vital in ensuring that today's discussion addresses your specific needs and concerns. So make sure to make the most of this opportunity. First up, we have two D Globalist team members, Varun Jami, Associate Director at D Globalist, and Anvita Ray, Associate Global Regulatory. Both of them would be covering the business mobility trends and regulatory frameworks in Europe. So I will hand the mic over to Varun. Varun, over to you.
Thank you so much, Anvita. A very warm good afternoon, good evening, and a good morning from across the world you're joining from. It's a pleasure to host you all on this webinar on business expansion for founders at the European Union. I'd like to begin by introducing D Globalist. We are the world's first business expansion ecosystem that enables companies across the globe to set up, launch, and scale their businesses, along with all the regulatory support that is needed across multiple geographies. We work with who we call entrepreneurs, who are basically limitless entrepreneurs with a global mindset, and they're doing business beyond native boundaries. We are present in over 10 countries right now. Could you please move to the next slide? We have a presence over 10 countries, including the America, Canada, Bahamas, Australia, and most definitely the European markets. In today's session, we'll be delving deeper into the business trends in the European markets. This includes the business aspects along with the regulatory aspects as well. Now, you look at the European market, it is quite fascinating. And the last 3 years has given us a shock after the shock. It began with the war in Ukraine, then there was the soaring inflation, and there was difficult financial conditions. Now, while all of these challenges have not completely resolved, it is significantly better now because the markets are growing and the investments have opened up again. In the recently concluded World Economic Forum as well, there was a lot of focus on driving the growth in the EU economy. And when we look at deeper into the EU economy, we notice that 99% of the market is made up of micro and small enterprises, who basically employ less than 49 individuals. However, when you look at the turnover, almost 50% comes from these large enterprises, which employ more than 249 employees. And these industries in EU can be categorized primarily into 3 segments. First are the cyclic sectors. Next slide, please. Which primarily, as the word suggests, have the ups and downs as how the industry progresses. When they have the defensive sector, which stays constant without any impact over the cycles of the year, and sensitive sectors, which have some impact on how the cycles of the business works. And interestingly, even how the countries are operated and sectors are also specific to some of these geographies as well. So you notice a lot of cyclic sectors are in the Germany, Italy, and Hungary space. And these industries include the financial services, machinery equipment, and electronics. Defensive sector companies are predominantly present in Portugal, Switzerland, Denmark. These include the agri-food, retail, and education space. And we have the sensitive sectors in mostly the Nordic regions, Netherlands, Sweden. And sensitive markets sectors include software and IT, business and professional, and transport and logistics space. In EU, there are a few sectors which are growing rapidly. The next slide, please. Which includes in the cyclic space, the finance, machinery, equipment, and electronics. The defensive space where the utility, healthcare, and other sectors. And sensitive includes the transport and logistics, chemicals, and the software and IT services. In India, what is it that these companies are looking for primarily is that they're looking to cut their costs as much as they can, access skills that they're not able to get access to now, and address the sustainability matters. And while this may just provide a brief overview on what the EU sectors look like, it is very important for us to delve deeper into each sector and also what it means in each country. I would recommend the Eurostat website, which gives a lot of these insights and stats for anyone to refer to. At the same time, at D Globalist, we also have a specific practice on enabling these companies to get insights on how the markets operate, the details that is needed, and figuring out the right strategy. And when you work with a lot of these companies, what we also realize that the expansion journey for them is also of quite importance. And out of experience, we believe there's 6 primary steps that is involved. Next slide, please. This starts with first assessing the market. It's very important to understand the timing, the behavior of the consumers, and the opportunities that are available. A classic example of a failure, unfortunately, was Walmart when they expanded rapidly into Germany. They had a loss of almost $3 billion, primarily because they didn't figure out how the German consumers used to do their shopping. While the expansion did not succeed at all, it had to shut all their shops. The second thing that is important is localization adaptation, which is where we have to get to the nuances of the cultural systems in place and going to the depth of designing, going to the depth when you're designing the entry strategy. For example, Chevy had introduced this model called as Nova. This is a very funny example, but and this was an expansion that in Spain. But in Spanish, Nova means no-go. And this is a little bit humorous, but then it's interesting that they may fail to consider what the local values and the local languages means. And it's very important to go into those depths as well. The third step is understanding the competition without really going to the depths of what the competition is, the proposition that they have. We cannot really build a very case. And it's very important to understand the local business practices, the user journey, and the key industry players. In fact, a lot of case studies on how these have failed. But an example I want to show you is of Netflix that succeeded in the European markets. How the design to enter was that they chose those markets which are very similar to what they were working with. Then they created the value for these users in those locations through content. And they invested a lot on the data and generating more of those reviews from these users. That led them to build a very solid business. And it's interesting that in 7 years, they were to expand into 50 countries. The fourth step is building the right channels, which is to effectively choose the best model to enter the particular market, connect with them, and make a very robust strategy in the market entry. Innocent Drinks chose a distribution model. It so happened that they had an interest from one of these people who said that we want to distribute your products in the market. They then set up like a small one agent, they set up a small stockist, and the response was overwhelming. And then they became such a huge company that they're doing almost 300 million pounds in turnover and has been acquired by Coca-Cola a decade ago. Fourth step does that. The fifth step is how to communicate effectively, which is to ensure that your value proposition that you've created is clearly and effectively communicated to your ideal customers and preferences. Tesla did an amazing job. When they entered Europe, they focused primarily on the environmental benefits, and now they are the top when it comes to the EV segment in EU. And lastly, ensure that you take care of all your regulatory requirements. A lot of success stories have been built purely on this, so has been some challenges. Airbnb succeeded on ensuring that they were able to expand when they started collaborating with the government to create policies and compliances for the tourists. So this includes checking, the taxing, and ensuring that this works for the benefit of the end local municipal corporations. So this is a brief of what the expansion journey is. We go delve into deeper of these aspects, and I would like to invite Anvita to take over and talk about the regulatory aspects in the ecosystem. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Varun, for the insights on business expansion journey and highlighting the importance of regulatory compliances while also focusing on your business generation. Switching over to the regulatory aspects, India and the EU have a favorable bilateral regime to help businesses in cross-border business exchanges. Almost all the EU member states have a DTAA, that is a double taxation avoidance agreement with India, which helps in ensuring that the income earned from the same source is not taxed more than once in both India as well as the host country in EU. Although there are numerous clauses to be kept in mind while studying the relevant DTAA, for the purposes of this webinar, we have ensured to keep it brief, to map out the important angles to be considered before launching your business in the EU. First slide, yes, thank you. So the DTAA determines which country has the primary taxing right on your company's profits based on factors like residence, permanent establishment. Understanding this helps avoid double taxation, basically paying tax on the same income in both India as well as Europe. The tax residence has impact on taxability of dividends, on taxability of business income, as well as of royalties. Next slide, please. The second important regulatory angle to be considered are the foreign exchange regulations that become applicable on international transactions. Any funds that are remitted, that is inflow or outflow of money to and from India, are governed by the provisions of a law called FEMA, that is the Foreign Exchange Management Act. There are two ways, basically, by which founders, such as you, can set up their business outside India. Either you can establish your own company in your own name, that is an individual's name, or in which case the remittance of funds can be made up to $250,000 in a single financial year. Or a second option is that a founder can set up a subsidiary of the Indian company, which may perhaps also be operating in other countries as well, in which case the founder can remit funds up to 4 times the Indian company's net worth as per the latest audited balance sheet. Although this is an overview of the regulatory exchange laws, it is recommended that you have a thorough understanding of the law before setting up your business abroad, something that we at D Globalist can surely help you with, so no need to worry on that side. So please, the next slide, please. Thank you. So shifting our focus towards the EU now, once an entrepreneur has set up their business in the EU, it would definitely require people to commence the business operations in the new company that is set up. In this regard, one of the key residency options suitable for founders and their employees is the EU Blue Card program. The EU Blue Card is a residence and work permit designed to attract highly skilled workers from outside the European Union. For founders such as you looking to establish their businesses in Europe, the Blue Card offers several advantages. The first one being that it has a faster processing timeline, which means that you can easily get it between 2 or 3 months. So as a result, you can focus on launching your business without lengthy delays. Second one being that it's a skilled worker recognition program, basically that it acknowledges your qualifications and helps access the talent pool, other financial resources, and helps you basically get an understanding and support from the EU business ecosystem out there. The third one being mobility, which means that the Blue Card allows you to work as well as reside in any EU member state that offers the Blue Card program, of course. This provides flexibility if you need to expand your business operations to other European countries. It also offers you family unification facilities, which means that you can apply for your family members, your spouse, and dependent children, that is, to join you in Europe once you've obtained the Blue Card. It must be noted very carefully that each EU member state has its own specific application process, and we have additional requirements, something which will be discussed and highlighted by EU partners shortly. As each business is different, so is the requirement of expansion. At D Globalist, our goal remains ensuring that we not only provide the regulatory overview before the expansion decision, but also handhold the clients throughout their expansion journey through our cross-border ecosystem. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Anvita, and Varun, for both of your insights on the regulatory side, and of course, how businesses can strategize when they're taking this major decision. So next up, I would like to introduce our D Globalist partner in Germany. She's a corporate partner, We have Ilona Mock, who would be speaking on the unique selling points of the German market for European expansion. So over to you, Ilona.
Okay, thank you, Shivani. Yeah, hello and welcome everybody. As Shivani already said, I am a German qualified lawyer. I have my own law firm, but today D Globalist asked me to give you an impression on the USP of Germany, or the USPs, which I'm trying to do. As top attraction of Germany, we identified two items. The first one is that Germany definitely is an economic powerhouse. So it is the largest economy in the EU when it comes to gross domestic product. And it is even one of the biggest and largest economies in the world. So that is definitely an important point. And I would like to emphasize that it has been very stable. The economic environment has been very stable over decades. So that definitely makes it very interesting for foreign investment. The second top attraction in our view is its tech and engineering excellence. Germany has been a global leader in technology and innovation for decades. It is renowned for its strong engineering tradition, research and development capabilities, and its industrial skills. So when we look at the top industries, those two things go hand in hand. As top industries in Germany, we have identified automotive, definitely, mechanical engineering, electronics, chemicals, and food processing. Then when it comes to ease of mobility, I mean, I'm personally a corporate and commercial lawyer, and I don't do immigration law, but I think Anvita has already pointed out the two main points here. From an EU perspective, we have those two interesting programs, especially for founders, which is the EU Blue Card and then the self-employment visa. So I think I'm not going to delve into this in more detail. From government and administrative support, I think it is worth mentioning that Germany has a very stable political framework, which is important for foreign investment. And it has a very reliable legal system, legal framework, transparent regulations, and efficient bureaucracy. So when it comes to getting the permits and licenses you need to set up your business in Germany, you have a very reliable and predictable framework for that. What else? Additional advantages. I would like to mention that Germany has a very strong IP protection, both on EU level and on country level as well. And yeah, world-class infrastructure when it comes to engineering and technical talent. So on the employee side, which is important for new companies entering the market. And it is situated in the heart of Europe. So Germany has a lot of borders with other EU countries. So that makes it a very interesting gateway to the European Union. I think that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ilona, for the information. Next up, we have our business immigration partner from D Globalist, Lithuania, Margarita Sinkevičiūtė. Hi, Margarita.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Shivani. Yes, I'm here. So my name is Margarita. I am a professional lawyer and founder and global mobility expert. And today I will present my home country, Lithuania. So let's deep dive and check why Lithuania can be the best. The first point, which is one I would like to mention today, this is cost-effective. And regarding to operation, Lithuania is the cost-effective location for international businesses and global companies. The cost of labor, office spaces, utilities, and even the cost of living in Lithuania is more friendly than Europe average. Every business, I think so, should consider very carefully regarding to operational costs to avoid mistakes, what we see actually very often, to relocate again to other countries and to double check the financial aspect and budgetary matters. Very good, and I am very happy to mention that not only business outside from Europe Union, but inside Europe Union countries members also considering relocate business to Lithuania to optimize operations and increase profitability. This is the high QI evaluation and shows that not only market size play a role, but right business climate and mention effective cost is crucial priorities for the business. From other hand, if you need to expand the business in biggest markets and travel to other countries, Europe Union, I mean, which can be more expensive one, you need only create right immigration strategy. Since my focus is immigration part and I am an expert of immigration, I always suggesting to everyone, especially to entrepreneurs and global companies, to consider every actually country immigration and legislation requirements, because this is very important. Taking into account efficient immigration process, Lithuania has the lower immigration salary requirements, making it easier to get the permits. What does it mean? Lithuanian salary requirements to get blue card is approximately 2.2 or 2.5 thousands. If you would like to obtain the blue card, comparing with the other countries, this is 4, 5, or 7,000 gross per month. It means you will face very high costs to operate every month, and these numbers is in the future only will grow. Also, I would like to highlight that the process in Lithuania is very swift to get the blue card. It means that you need only 15 days to obtain this permit after application submission. Migration system in Lithuania already automated, and based on my practice, we are leaders in Europe Union regarding to immigration automation, which leads also to the very fast process. Other very important moment, you can submit your application in India too and get the blue card permit also in India. It means you avoiding a lot of additional actions. So you don't need to actually apply for additional visa, travel to Europe to submit application, then spend additional money for travel for hotels, and again travel to pick up permit. In India, you can submit this application in New Delhi, or if you're traveling regarding to business trip, you can use more than 30 countries to submit application. For example, Thailand, Nepal, Singapore, or any other countries, which one we have at list. Family members also mention our partners that this is the benefits because family members can receive the permit, but I would like to mention additionally that this permit allowing actually to work too. So if you're receiving blue card, your members as dependents will receive a permit too. And with this permit, your wife or husband will be able to work. So this is also a very fast process to obtain and for family members permit. As I mentioned, very important from the beginning to think about the immigration strategy. What does it mean? If you're receiving very fast permit blue card, you are able to expand your business and cross other actually Europe Union countries borders or Schengen countries borders with exactly this blue card permit. Additionally, very important aspect, which one I would like to mention, that Lithuania is Europe's largest fintech hub, similar like Silicon Valley in United States, and this community growing very fast in Lithuania. Simplify process for business setup and licenses, making in Lithuania actually environment very innovative. And we have such sectors as IT, financial sectors, fintech, and very expanding global services too. Also very important to mention that we have very good location and Lithuania location is the center of the Europe, and this is officially. What does it mean? You can actually have the access to a lot of Eastern or Western Europe. It has well-established transportation and flights networks too, that results in smooth logistic aspect. The Klaipėda seaport, which is the largest in the Baltic states. Additionally, I would like to point and government support. As I mentioned, Lithuania government support the startup ecosystem as we have very good relocation and tax incentive programs. Very limited countries who in generally has these programs. For example, if you're relocating as employer employee, you can receive as employer this financial benefit. And also additionally, employee who relocated also will be able to receive financial support. Other point, we have 7 free economic zones, which foster a great investment climate and expansion for international companies. But this is very separate and big topic, but you can receive potential reimbursement of your staff employment, approximately 10 or 20%. Or in the free economic zones, you can face only 0 taxes from corporate profits, dividend, or real estate taxes, and it can be up to 10 years. So this is very good benefits. Even for startups, I double-checked in today, there are separate support regarding to business trip to other countries. For example, exhibitions, you can visit and receive from the government side very good benefits. Also, I would like to mention that we focus also on the cybersecurity. We have very good internet connections and big talent pool. And Lithuania focused also on this aspect when you grow in global services. Stability and security, very low risk of natural disaster, which is crucial for business for long-term strategy. So to summarize, I would like to mention that we have today relocation, business relocation, climate impact relocation, and this is important, make the right decision now. To finalize, we have ideal conditions for the business growth, include global business services and government-friendly, not bureaucratic government support, making a great location Lithuania for entrepreneurs. That's it from my side. Thank you so much, and I hope it was helpful.
Thank you so much, Margarita. Next up, we have Eva Maschietto, our corporate partner from D Globalist, Italy, and she will be speaking on Italian business environment and opportunities.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining this webinar, and thank you also to D Globalist for this opportunity and for the partners of the other European countries. So Italy, I mean, I think that we have a fantastic country in every sense, and this is quite self-evident, but also from a business perspective, we are very interesting as a country. Being the 8th biggest economy in the world, we are the 3rd greatest economy in Europe, with a GDP worth that is 1.8 trillion euro. Our domestic market offers a number of opportunities in our traditional industries, which are manufacturing, agriculture, tourism, food tech, fashion and design, but many others. Also with respect to our cultural heritage, which is unique in the world, as for sure everybody knows. In terms of location, Italy is located at the center of the Mediterranean Sea. So it's very well based also with respect to contacts with Africa and with the entire continent. Notwithstanding the climate change issues, we have still a very big and I would say pleasant country, and the weather is something that enables our industries also to be very profitable throughout the year. We are the second largest manufacturing economy in Europe, the fifth largest globally, and the eighth largest exporter in the world. We have also a number of synergies with respect to the Indian market. For example, the fashion and design industry is very well linked with respect to the manufacturing of textiles that is so famous in the Indian market. Also, the IT market, it's very it's very important for us, and investing in Italy means to have a sort of gateway throughout Europe, but the access also to a unique expertise in certain leading sectors at the very top tier of the market. So machinery and robotics, design, automotive parts, you know, our branding systems include famous brands such as Ferrari or other very famous brands that are probably the most famous in the world in terms of luxury, fashion, and what is really charming and attractive for foreign and domestic investors. We also can boast to have skilled workforce offers with respect to other comparables partners in Europe. We do have a very strong education systems, and our universities are very well ranked. So in terms of research and development, I think that Italy is certainly a very important place to be in. Of course, with respect to cultural heritage, I already said what is probably very well known worldwide. We are the first worldwide site for UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and we do have uncountable number of touristic attractions, art, and also we are very famous for our food, quality of life, and entertainment industry, which is also one of the most important industries nowadays. In terms of incentives and investments, I think that Italy is very attractive, especially these days, because our government is focusing a lot on attractive foreign investment, also from companies outside of Europe. And in this respect, a number of initiatives have been launched and are still present, and that can be profited also from companies which are based outside of Europe and especially India. As Anrita was saying before, being a part of the European Union, we benefit from all the EU Blue Card, the Italy Startup Visa. We have a number of programs which encourage the foreign industries and foreign companies to invest. Of course, this can be done progressively, so through distribution, exportation, joint venture, or incorporation of companies. I know that you are interested also in understanding if our bureaucracy can cope with foreign investors, and I'm happy to confirm that notwithstanding, I mean, its bad reputation, the Italian bureaucracy have improved a lot in these recent years, and officers are able to speak decent English, so they can liaise directly with Indian people. And there are already some Indian companies investing in Italy in sectors such as manufacturing, agriculture, I mean, the ones that you are seeing depicted in the slide that is being shown. So we also have many private capital available, because, you know, the savings of the Italian companies is famous in the world as one of the most important savings. So, and people are very open and friendly, and Italians do like to do enterprise with foreign companies, and we have experience of very profitable partnerships in this to this end. And we do also have a very significant amount of private equity and venture capital opportunities with accelerators and incubators, startups. It's all very, I would say, fresh and running here. So you are welcome to ask questions and to be curious about Italy, and we will be happy to help you.
Thank you very much, Ava, for the informative points. Next up, we have Xenia Neophytou, our business mobility partner, D Globalist Cyprus, and she will be shedding some light on the unique offerings that Cyprus has for startup founders.
Okay, thank you so much, Shivani. Thank you, all the Global team for this initiative. I'm excited to share as well why Cyprus is a strategic destination for Indian companies looking to expand it into Europe. Let's explore a bit some of the advantages. And my presentation is specifically for tech companies and business in the fintech sector. So in our choice of the top attractions for businesses, the top attraction businesses is the financial services sector. It has a robust financial services sector, Cyprus, including banking, insurance, investment services, investment funds, wealth management, and fund administration companies. For example, Wargaming, a tech giant, moved its headquarters to Cyprus due to the favorable tax regime, access to the skilled labor, and business-friendly environment. Also, we have a very strong licensing requirement, especially for companies that want to go into the financial services. We have we transpose the European regulatory framework, and also the regulator here is very experienced in the financial services. As I mentioned, Cyprus, another top advantage, top attraction for businesses that are looking into Cyprus are the tax system. We have one of the lowest in EU at 12.5, and there are additional incentives for businesses. Just to name a few, we have a very strong intellectual tax regime and the national interest deduction, which effectively reduce the tax rate of a business to as low as 2.5. And this is very important for someone that wants to set up a business, to lower their costs, to lower their taxes. Another major attraction for doing business in Cyprus, it's its advanced telecommunication infrastructure. We have widespread fiber optic deployment, which ensures high-speed and reliable internet services, and the country invests in state-of-the-art data centers. For top industries, you see in the slide, it's not necessarily in the top sector, but starting with the real estate and construction, have a huge industry here, which attracts global investors with untapped growth potential. Tourism is also a major contributor to the GDP, with steady growth thanks to its Mediterranean climate and rich history. As I mentioned before, the financial services remains backbone for Cyprus, offering critical support for business. But it's also worth mentioning the shipping and maritime in Cyprus. Cyprus has the third largest merchant fleet in the EU and the 11th largest globally. Its shipping registry, it's favored due to the competitive registration fees and taxes, and the Cypriot flag is recognized globally for its high standards of safety and security. Another growing sector is the energy, oil and gas sector. Recently, the discovery of significant natural gas reserves in Cyprus, exclusive economic zone, has positioned Cyprus as an emerging player in the Mediterranean market for energy, which offers substantial, again, investment opportunities. And finally, we have the information and technology, which is rapidly expanding. We have a very tech-friendly ecosystem, government incentives for startups and investments in technology infrastructure. For the mobility programs, Cyprus offers a variety of visa options, including the startup visa, the digital nomad, and the work permit. These are just to name the most popular. Cyprus aims to manage its labor market needs while adhering to local immigration policies. Relocation becomes more accessible for sectors such as IT, finance, and tourism. We have seen a huge increase in people coming, especially from tech industries, headquartering here and relocating their staff. And many of these companies, particularly in need of software engineers or data scientists, where they cannot find readily available in the local market, they utilize the employer program schemes, which bring in specialists from non-EU countries to address skill gaps. And they can bring up to 70% of their employees from third countries. And this is a very attractive program for people that want to relocate their staff in Cyprus. And another option for founders is the startup visa, which requires applicants to present a viable business plan, secure sufficient funding for their venture, and demonstrate their ability to generate local employment. This option requires a smaller investment criteria rather than the employment, than the company with employee visa. And finally, we have the digital nomad visa. Cyprus allows remote workers if you don't want to work in Cyprus, but you can still work in Cyprus and be employed by a company abroad. Regarding the government support, the government of Cyprus actively supports businesses through different schemes. We have the Invest Cyprus, we have the Business Facilitation Unit, which was formed recently, especially to help businesses come to Cyprus. They help them simplify the setup process here and offer them guidance for staff relocation. Also, the government has given significant tax credits to employees of companies that are relocating their staff. For example, people, especially in the IT, who are high earners, over 55 can enjoy up to 50% tax exemption for 17 years, and this is very popular. Or if they're into the lower tax bracket, they can enjoy 20% exemption up to 7 years. And to add on the support, it actively secures Cyprus EU funding for technology-focused research. Technology parks and business incubators provide vital resources and support for startups here in Cyprus. We also have this month actually a big festival which the Embassy of Cyprus is participating and inviting startups from sponsoring startups from India to come here and promote their idea. So we have a lot of incentives for startups to come here and do business. And then final note, India and Cyprus, both British colonies, share many similarities. So like in India, Cyprus has a high proficiency in English for business and legal matters. It follows the English common law system, which reduces language barriers and simplifying business operations. We have highly skilled professionals here on the island that can help you set up your business. The operating costs are very low compared to other bigger jurisdictions. And another crucial aspect for individuals considering a relocation, and a lot of people enjoyed it, is the high standard of living. In Cyprus, we have high quality of life with excellent healthcare. We have a very safety environment, peaceful Mediterranean lifestyle. And just the final note, as a small island, we are less crowded. We have a less crowded market environment, and this offers to new businesses the chance to establish strong market presence. We have examples that for businesses that have set up their business here, and they managed to tap into niche markets that were overlooked in higher economies of scale. So trying your product here in Cyprus first with less intense competition and maximizing opportunities is worthwhile noticing. Thank you so much, and I will be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Xenia. Next, we have Bulgaria. So our partner, D Globalist corporate partner, Residency will be speaking on the focus points of Bulgarian business ecosystem.
Thank you, Shivani. My name is Rosita, and I will be presenting the competitive advantages of doing business in Bulgaria. So Bulgaria is strategically located in the center of the Balkan Peninsula, and it is the southern end border of the European Union with Turkey. This makes it a logistic hub as well as an important area for economic transport corridors through land as well as through sea. Since its EU membership, Bulgaria has turned into extremely popular investment destination with high foreign direct investments. We have low employment costs, rental expenses for commercial and residential properties, as well as the second lowest cost of energy in the European Union. Traditionally, strong sectors are IT, manufacturing, and outsourcing. It should be noted that Bulgaria has one of the most favorable tax regimes. Corporate income tax and personal income tax are with a single flat rate of 10%. Of course, there are additional tax benefits for hiring of long-term unemployed persons. Corporate income tax could be also remitted up to 100% for investments in economically disadvantaged regions. Of course, more tax benefits are also available in specific economic sectors which are considered priority for our country's development and therefore are incentivized. Bulgarian law also regulates different corporate structure for economic presence and business expansion. The registration procedure is simple and fast. A completely new company structure also was introduced in Bulgarian legislation in 2023. This is the so-called company with variable capital, which is extremely flexible company structure and is attracting a lot of interest, especially for startups in Bulgaria. It is suitable for small investors with limited resources. And as the name suggests, the capital is variable. It is not subject to registration in Bulgarian trade register and is not deposited in advance. Instead, the capital is established at the end of each financial year with the filing of the annual financial statements of the company. As for the social security system, I would like to point out that Bulgaria has a minimum salary which has been introduced in the country. It is approximately 465 euro per month for full work time. Of course, part-time work is also a possibility. The payment of social security contributions is divided between the employer and the employee. About 20% are for the employer and the remaining 13% for the employee. This makes it also one of the lowest full employment costs in the European Union. As for the mobility programs, we have for foreign entrepreneurs, Bulgaria offers the so-called startup visa. It is issued for high-tech and innovative projects in the country and is one of the mandatory documents for obtainment of long-term residence permit in the country. The startup visa has a validity of 1 year and it could be prolonged with additional 2 years. For highly qualified foreign employees, we also offer the so-called EU Blue Card. It is a specific type of work and residence permit for citizens of countries outside the European Union. And the permit is designed for the purpose of exercising highly qualified employment. It is issued for a period of 5 years. So basically, these are the main points of my presentation. Of course, if you have any further questions, I will be glad to answer in the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rosetta. Those are all of our speakers for today. And now we will move on with the Q&A session. I can see that we already have 2 questions here that were written in from our attendees. So let's start with those. So first one is for Margarita about expansion in Lithuania. So the question is, how easy is it to find skilled labor in Lithuania, considering the population is going to be tough?
Thank you so much for this question. Yes, thank you, Shivani. So I can mention that actually this is easy, but it's very important to decide what kind of skills you need to. Because we have low-skilled employees and high-skilled employees, and Lithuania too focus on the very strong education system. And when you're starting to operate in European Union, you need to understand that this play also the big role. What I would like to mention additionally would focus on the students, and you can hire students even they going ahead with the studies at the same time, so they can be hired for full day. And after that, we have a green light when they receiving the diploma to employ them very fast and get actually fast track work permit. So, and this actually benefit for 10 years. So we focus on international students. We have both, how I mentioned, low skilled and high skilled, depends on your business needs. And you can go ahead. Additionally, maybe I want to mention that please be careful when you're obtaining the permits, because not all permits have the rights to cross the other European Union borders, and not all European Union countries have blue card permits. I mean, in generally they should have, but still not implemented. So you need to think about that before you are thinking about the expansion in some European Union countries. And additionally, regarding to nomad visa, please be aware that this permit or visa not linked to employer, and you as the business should be interested to actually focus on the permits which one linked to employer, because this is your business, this is your management of the business. So I hope so I answered to the questions. If you have anyone, just let me know.
Thank you, Margarita. So before we take the next question, I would like to tell all of our attendees that you can raise your hand as well at the same time if you'd like to come on and actually speak and ask your question. So that's also an option. But you can also write in your question and we would get to it one by one. So the next question that was written in is for Italian industry. So Eva, this one's for you. It says, as we are interested in Italian food industry, would like to collaborate with restaurateurs. How do we connect with them, and how responsive and open they are to businesses from India?
So I'm happy to say that the Italian food industry is extremely open to, and every culture. So we have a number of institutions following also the business from other countries. We have Indian restaurants everywhere here. And the best way to get in touch with the food industry is probably, there are 3 channels more or less. The first one is the Chamber of Commerce of each location. So depending on where in Italy you intend to establish your relationship, you can contact the local chamber of commerce, or there are associations, national associations in this case, but they are private entities, which are collecting a significant number of industries, what we call FIPE. So it's a sort of federation of restaurants or bars or pubs that are associated, and you can get in touch with them and see I mean, how to maybe collaborate through seminars and then connect with the people doing the marketing or the commercial part. The third part is, I mean, to get in touch with the leading food hub excellence. If you aim for entering what we call the first-tier market of the Italian food industry, such as Italy, for example, which is, you know, a very famous mall for high-quality food and includes international food as well. You can enter into these specific associations with respect to the protection of the high quality food. There is also a private association called Centro Marca, which is a sort of branch of Confindustria, which is the national most famous branch of the industry, which is protecting the highest brand of the food industries. So there are a number of channels that you may try, and then of course you can get in touch with the industry itself. While if you are interested in getting in touch with specific restaurants or restaurant managers or owners, you probably will have best to try to get in touch directly with them. But there are public and private association protecting this industry.
Thank you, Eva, for that
answer.
Yes, I believe that answers the question. So next up, we have Anand from the attendees. So I will allow you to speak, Anand, and you can ask your question. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Hi everyone. So I'm Anand and the founder of Dharaksha Eco Solutions. So we have developed a alternative of styrofoam / EPS, and we call thermocol in India, from agri waste, and primarily we are using the waste of rice, which is majorly being burned in in our country. So I just want to understand, and the packaging is majorly used in cushioning, where the fragile items are to safeguard the fragile items while in the transportation. So my question is, we are doing good in India, and we just want to have a setup in Europe. So I just want to understand, one is the labor cost. How can I find the labor cost? Second, the supply chain of agri waste. And third is the costing of the styrofoam, so that if I get the labor cost and some other parameters, and the majorly the electricity cost as well, there I can find the feasibility of thinking to set up a factory there. And so that's the question. How can I find these three?
Thank you, Anand. So I will let Varun from D Globalist take this one. Hi, Varun.
Anand, thank you so much for that question. And I think it's a quite comprehensive one, because you're starting from the basics of figuring out unit economics and then looking at going to the customers. So What I would say is that we should focus on the markets or countries where the rice is growing. I believe there are a few countries which is known properly for this. I believe Italy being one of them as well. It starts with those markets where we have the access to the raw materials. We'll have to go into depth of connecting with some of the local farmers or agriculture industrialists so that we can understand what the price of which they're procuring it can be ascertained.
Right.
The second aspect comes into, I think, when you're setting up the manufacturing location, the aspects related to the land, the kind of access to your resources, utilities, and as well as the labor comes into picture. I'd say because rice straw is such a voluminous material, it can't be transported for longer distances. We have to ensure that those locations also identified suitably in that manner. So I would definitely say that this will take a little bit more deeper insights and research to figure out the right answers, which location is ideal as well as what the possibilities can be. And I believe it's strongly linked to the supply chain model. So it'll be a little difficult to comment strongly on what these could be, but we can definitely dive deeper and understand what the nuances can be. And also the other aspect that you mentioned is that it's used for packaging. So you would primarily be in segments where there's a lot of retail also that's been happening. It has to match those aspects as well. So what we can do is connect over a deeper call to see how we can identify the right locations, structure this entire engagement with you, and maybe we can do that in a separate conversation as well.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Varun, and thank you, Anand, for your question. Next, we'll take one more question from the audience. We have Rachit Rawat. Hi, Rachit.
Hello.
Hi, we can hear you.
Yeah. Hi, guys. I'm Rachit, and I'm a tech entrepreneur and a startup founder of a company called Party Hunt. We are based out of Goa, India. So basically, Party Hunt is a mobile app that helps people to discover and promote music events. So I would like to know, like, since Europe is a very big market for nightlife events, so I would like to know if there are what could be the possible investment opportunities or any accelerators, prominent accelerators in Germany or Italy for an event entertainment startup like ours.
Okay. Would Eva or Ilona like to take this one, since it is Germany or Italy specific?
Oh, yes. Well, of course, event and entertainment is certainly a business which is the object of a number of incentives in Italy. So, depending on the, I would say, and I understand that you are interested in sort of an app. This is a startup which is joined to this industry, and both the IT innovative startups and the entertainment industry are both accelerated. Well, you can either try to explore a direct, I would say, contact with respect to enacting this app in Italy, starting up your own innovative startup, and to this end you have a number of incentives, or you can try to find an incubator. There are numbers of incubators with respect to app, so innovative startups that you can contact and see if you can join a program in this respect. Because of course, in terms of, I have a very good example about an app which is a sort of neighborhood app for the entertainment site visits in art cities such as Venice, Florence, Bologna, and Naples, which is being funded by the government through an incubator where also other companies have invested. This is one example. Actually, this was not triggered by an international investor, but was created by a university group of young, very young students. And so that's why it's quite famous, but there are many. So in terms of opportunity, depending on the business model, so also on the business plan that your app can generate and where you imagine to have revenues in this value chain, you can find the right approach to enter the market. But there are these accelerators, of course, in Italy at least. I can speak for Italy.
Thank you, Eva. Thank you, Rachit. I hope that answers your question partly.
If I may just to add to that, so Rachit, in case you're looking for some of these programs, F6S in UNODL is an amazing platform where a lot of these competitions are always placed. At least from Indian perspective, you can access some of these programs at all times. Techstars also runs a program in Germany specifically. So you can always take a look at some of these platforms as a lot of these applications are sought for, like F6S, for example. I think that's a good source for you to get active programs that you can sign up for, as well as keep updates on anything that's coming up or something that's happened in the past.
All right. Thanks, Eva. Thanks, Varun. That was really helpful.
Thank you, Rachit. Next one, well, we have a written question. This would be for Xenia. Xenia, if you could tell us a little bit about the digital nomad visa. Tanushri has this question.
Yes, sure. So the digital nomad visa, it gives opportunities for people that from third countries to move to Cyprus with their families as well, and they don't want to work in Cyprus. So it gives this opportunity for people that have to continue working remotely and to enjoy the residence visa in Cyprus for them and their families. So it's a very competitive visa again for those people, and they can also enjoy the tax benefit if they are tax resident in Cyprus and non-dom as well, which will have very competitive schemes. So a lot of people choose this visa for coming, testing the ground, not working initially, but also enjoying the non-dom regime. I hope I answered the question.
Certainly. So we have actually one more question for you, Xenia, which is from Shikha. So she wants to know, does Cyprus support startups working in research and development of construction waste sector in terms of labs?
If we have, yeah, I mean, especially for research development, we have a very supportive ecosystem. We have a lot of startups and a big community, expats as well that are here. And there are also tech parks and labs, and some of them are from government or municipalities or locally, yeah, and they can easily find their way here in Cyprus, startups, and communicate with the rest of the tech community, which is growing very fast the last years here in Cyprus. And like I said, we have a very big event here, tech events this month as well, a big one for tech startups to come and promote their ideas. So it's emerging and fast growing, and the government especially supports the tech industry the last years with many incentives.
Thank you, Xenia. Another question, this would be for Varun or Anvita, since it's a general question about what the minimum requirements for Indian businesses to set up in any European country are. Anvita, would you like to take this one?
Yes, no worries, I'll take this one. So basically, with respect to minimum requirements for any business would be two things. One would be definitely taking care of the business viability side, as well as taking care of the regulatory side. when we're talking about specifically cross-border business mobility, that would mean that an aspect of immigration also comes into picture. So while we're also taking a look at the market size, whether the product is something that would be suitable for a particular market, the competitor analysis, the feasibility analysis from the perspective of businesses. And we're also taking a look at the regulatory aspects as to the tax compliances that need to be fulfilled, the corporate compliances that need to be taken care of, the tax benefits, or mostly the tax implications, which one a business would be facing when they are, for example, repatriating their profits, when they are setting up businesses, and of course, when they are, with respect to IPR, laws as well that are there in that particular country. The immigration aspect also comes into pictures, meaning thereby that under which program would your business model be suitable, and also the kind of corporate entity that should be set up depending on your business operations and depending on the number of employees that you would be wanting to hire and how much you would want your business operations to scale. So since this is a general question, so I would just be giving a general answer because every single business is unique, every single business model. Before that structure is created, there has to be in-depth study on all of these aspects. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Anvita. One more question. This would be, again, sort of a generic one, but what are the options for in the European market who are for businesses that are in tech and have built an innovative product, but are unable to come to the Indian market? So I suppose, Varun, this would be for you.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fairly open-ended question in terms of the possibilities. It's well documented that the entire world is looking at India as opportunities in terms of investments, in terms of ideas, in terms of even technology. So there's two ways that's happening in terms of trade. There is both India to outbound and outbound to India as well. So specifically for any company that is looking to set up operations in India, I think it starts with the entire journey of identifying the fit, whether this is going to work out in the markets or not. So we start with the entire understanding of whether this product is suitable or not, getting a depth of what the users are accustomed to in India. In a lot of cases, price becomes a lot of consideration, and the value that is attached to the price has to be evaluated. So we figure out the pricing strategy. Post that, we understand which is the best segment to start targeting from. You have the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and the Bharat that we call it. So identify the right opportunities and then thereafter build a strategy to enter it. I mean, it's the way it has been structured, at least in India, it's very easy for companies to come into. It's only a matter of fact of ensuring that your market is ready and you have figured out the right strategy to enter these markets. So, I mean, yeah, I believe that quickly summarizes the answer to that question.
Thank you, Varun. We have one more person from the audience, Sandeep. If you'd like to turn your microphone on, yeah.
Hello, is this audible? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
All right. Hello, guys. Hi, I'm Sandeep and I represent Ombre. We are a design-led tech company that focuses on UI/UX design. My question is largely for the German and Cyprus ecosystem. What I want to understand is if we have to work with tech and fintech-focused companies in these regions, what is the most ideal way to reach out to them and connect with them on these specific requirements?
Okay. So yes, Varun, would you like to take this?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I would say that it's probably something that will apply to all the European markets or customers that you're looking at, not really for a specific segment. But what Eva mentioned in terms of the channels is a right way to approach even this at this point of time, because a lot of these industry associations that exist where it's a right place for you to present yourself, be available. I mean, if there is an option for you to travel, it's amazing to participate in some of these fairs. They're pretty big, they're pretty popular. I think there's a question about exhibitions as well in this the group. But the idea is that do make yourself felt in these markets. You coming from the marketing space would also have a little bit of touch in terms of how advertisements could work, I believe. So those are some of the low-hanging fruits that you can tap into. Like I said earlier, 99% of this entire sector is SMBs in terms of the businesses. So that actually means that most of them have slightly small operations. There's spaces of less than 49 individuals. It will be a little difficult for you to connect with all of them in a single place, and it will require you to actually use digital channels to connect with them. So I would recommend using emails as means to connect with them. 1, 2, participate at fairs, and 3, if you can run some of your ads, it will be an amazing way to connect with them as simple as that.
Right. Sounds good, Varun. I think that quietly sums up what I've been asking.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sandeep.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you, Varun. We have one more question written in. So Som is asking that they're operating a business that's registered in Delaware. It's angel funded, revenue generating, and in the AI domain. They already have EU customers, especially in Germany. And he wants to know if opening a branch would be possible through the available routes that are out there. So Anvita, would you answer this one? So this probably would be routes for Germany or any other EU countries that are good for AI.
Yeah, okay. So with respect to this question, I think I would say thank you, Som. First of all, depending on the program, definitely. So certain programs are basically, for example, specifically the startup visas, deal with companies or deal with business ideas which are innovative, where there are certain programs which are designed to ensure that you can open up a branch or subsidiary like something that you're looking for. So in that case, you can definitely, I believe that you can use the EU Blue Card as an option to set up base there and also get your employees. And you do not specifically have to, it doesn't mean that you have to specifically focus in Germany because you have customers in Germany. Definitely, since you have customers in Germany, so that will help you in securing that visa. However, you can also explore other countries as well, even if you do not, so as to increase your customer base. Furthermore, I think one question that is quite common and like a lot of founders have is that the EU market is something which is to an extent quite unexplored. And as a result, there are so many questions popping up with respect to this because of, I believe that the local support is something which is a lot of founders are looking for. Local insights, local information. And I believe that D Globalist here is able to, with its offices across the EU, across the globe, has covered that. So, so that you have that local information and local insights as well as the local handholding with respect to both the business aspects, the corporate aspects, and the regulatory aspects. So, yes, thank you.
Thank you, Anvita. I would like to actually open, we'll start off with some of the questions to our entire panel, actually, to all the 5 ladies we have today. These are some common questions that everyone has, and we would like to know, how these questions can be answered from different countries. Point of view. So the first one would be about the government incentives, which is a point that is important for everyone who's thinking of expanding into the European market. So we can start with Ilona, perhaps. So Ilona, if you can tell us about some government incentives that are there to support any particular industries, perhaps, to support entrepreneurship and innovation. Is Germany doing any of that?
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, I probably cannot tell you like a detailed thing here. I think one thing is important to understand, that when it comes to incentives and funding, it is a bit complicated in Germany because we have this federal system. So basically what happens is that we have incentives and funding on different levels. So that can be on EU level, that can be on German state level. And then we have those federal states as subdivisions, and they all can have different subsidies or loan programs or whatever. And even the single cities, for example, can have their own funding system. So I think, and that they all have different aspects and different startups. For example, they want to their region, they want to come to their region. So it is a bit complicated here, and I think it's really yeah, it must be a very tailored advice. So you have to look at the business, at the background, at the and at everything. So there are persons specialized on these programs, and it's very hard to give like a one-fits-all approach answer. I'm very sorry. Yeah.
Certainly. So yeah, thank you for that. Well, next one, I would like to ask Residency the same question. If Bulgaria's, offering any incentives or any programs that could be, worth considering for specific sectors.
Yeah, of course. For instance, Bulgaria is incentivizing innovation, and we have the so-called National Innovation Fund. This fund is basically giving financial support for businesses that are engaged in scientific research and scientific programs. So this is something which is very much appreciated because it's kind of a bridge between the scientific community and the business. Also, we have national incentive programs for the agricultural sector. For instance, our corporate tax, we provide such incentive like corporate tax remittance up to a certain amount for farmers for their taxable profits, let's say for the production of plant and animal products. The only condition is that this remitted tax should be invested into the acquisition of new buildings or machinery that should be later used in the agricultural production and in the agricultural business as a whole. As a principle, we incentivize specific sectors such as manufacturing industry as well, software products, and information technology. Also, as I mentioned, research and development, administrative and office activities, including outsourcing. And for all of these sectors, depending on the sector, and of course, on the threshold or the amount of the investment, we offer different administrative and regulatory benefits, but they could be further elaborated in detail depending on the specifics of the case.
Right. Thank you so much, Residency. Margarita, oh yes, Xenia also, yes. Same question for you.
Just add here, a lot of the funding coming to Europe as Europe, it's that's the beauty of it, because the European Union funds a lot of IT projects, or if it's to optimize either manufacturing or other energy sector now, ESG and green side of things. So there is a large pool of funding for all European countries that can take advantage. And through, for example, if you come to a certain country, there is a pool of these funds that being a resident, your company is resident in the EU, can access this EU funding. And there are many opportunities, but as long as Ilona said, it depends on the business case, on how good you are, and how you present your case, but definitely there are opportunities in the whole European Union. That's what I wanted to add here on the whole spectrum. Yes. Apart, I mean, if you want me to add for Cyprus, I mentioned before, we give additional incentives, especially for tech companies, and also we give a lot of tax credits or tax incentives.
Yes.
That's for me. Yeah.
Thank you. Margarita, I believe you did cover some parts of this since fintech is a big industry that's supported by the government, but are there any additional ones that you'd like to add?
So I think so regarding to incentives, so already mentioned my colleagues, so we have the similar actually situation in Lithuania, and we do not separate actually the business per profile. Actually, this is applied for all companies. I'll mention and colleagues from Cyprus, this is some investment coming from the European Union, so we have and local ones. So what you can expect regarding to this, how I mentioned, we have the relocation actually support, financial support additionally. We have potential reimbursement of your staff employment, which the one is very important when you're operating. Also, how I mentioned, we have 7 tax-free economic zones, and this is actually very big beneficial for the companies. So, but anyway, you need to meet requirements, and this is very important. And that's why actually a lot of companies considering Lithuania, because this is, this is a lot of bureaucratic things, which the one you should actually understand. But it's very important to understand how actually and government support you, or they go ahead with innovation mindset, and they definitely focus on the expansion, global companies expansion inside the country, or the same similar bureaucratic way how you need to submit a lot of documents. Government is a very big, not only regarding financial aspect, but how they managing all these things as well. So I think so we should be on the same page that we definitely support as external providers, as government, and as globalists to. Thank you.
Thank you, Margarita. Eva, anything comes to mind when it comes to the Italian market?
Well, yes, I have to agree with all the others. I mean, Italy has different types of incentives in terms of accessing capital resources, as I said, tax incentives, possibilities of crowdfunding through the through public platforms. So to find other private funding, rather, I mean, of course, European, governmental, local, regional funds, but also exemptions in terms of possibility to carry over losses for even 5 years. As I said, exemptions from tax duties and all these programs for innovative enterprise, the Italian startup visa you have already mentioned. So we do have a number of incentives, and I perfectly agree with what Ilona and Xenia were saying, so that we it's a little bit on a tailor basis. So depending on the business plan, you may have even more than one financing. There are co-financing also at different levels in terms of capital, loans, facilities, or other financial support.
Okay, thank you, Eva. So another pressing question, I think, when it comes to expanding to any other geography would be the cultural sensitivities of the respective regions, I believe. So I'd like to ask this to all of the panelists as well, this question, which is about what are the specific cultural sensitivities or local business practices that founders should be aware of when operating in the respective markets. So let's start with Ilona again. in fact, Ilona, I'd also like to include the language part in this question for Germany specifically. Is it very important to be fluent in Germany for a founder, or how can they, deal with the language barrier?
Yeah, well, I would even say that German is not important at all, because I think in the whole business area, once you speak proficient English, that is perfectly fine. And I think all the business related people in Germany, they should speak proficient English. So I would personally say that German is not a necessity at all. Yeah. And then when it comes to specific cultural sensitivities, I don't really know. I thought about this question, and well, I would say obviously there should be a cosmopolitan approach. Pro-democratic is definitely a necessity. Equal rights, those topics, and maybe a certain awareness when it comes to diversity matters. That's what I would say. But apart from that, I don't think that there's anything really special for Germany. Yeah.
That certainly is an informative answer, regardless. Would like to move to Xenia next.
Yeah, sure. Like I said, India and Cyprus, for example, are very similar. So being an ex-colony, we have the English common law system. Most of the people here study in UK. I mean, I've came to India, when we speak with Indians, and we see a lot of similarities in the way we do business. Here, we will not have an issue if you come, if you speak well English. Everybody speaks English, even even in the restaurants, everywhere. You speak English. You can live here for many years and don't speak Greek. Even we have all the laws. Most of the laws are in English, so it's an official language. So generally, it's easy to do business. Like the other European countries, democracy is very important, and all of that, which I'm sure you understand. And one of the good things, it's good quality of life, Mediterranean lifestyle. You can chill at the beach and do your work, sunshine throughout the year, which a lot of people enjoy very much. That's it from me.
Certainly. Thank you, Xenia. Eva, anything that people should keep in mind when they...
Well, as I said before, the Italian, the knowledge of Italy is not necessary. So English is widely spoken. Of course, Italians are very warm people, so they also like a sort of reciprocity in this respect. They are very eager to know also the other cultures, very curious and very chatty. So this is something which goes, of course, beyond what is a professional, but relationships, personal relationships are important. Of course, I stay with Xenia and with Ilona with respect to democracy. We are all European countries, so the values of Europe are really at the back of our mind every day. So I think that this is very important to be taken into account, and this I think is very common to everybody. Even if our countries are different, we do share a common sense of Europe, and we are very linked. So we feel to be in Europe, actually. We then have our, of course, cultural specificity, heritage, but we are European.
Yeah. Thank you, Eva. Margarita, same question.
I totally agree with my colleagues, so I will maybe not add any additional comments, because definitely all of those make sense. And regarding to Lithuania, we have actually a very open community and now very big pool talent also from India. And I cannot see a big difference. I think so we're on same page regarding to values, and this is very important. So this is from my side.
Rosetta, anything to add?
Yeah, I would say that Bulgarians are very tolerant and accepting towards foreigners, and more foreign citizens actually living in Bulgaria, not only in the capital, but also in the countryside. Also, of course, respect is given to age and rank. And maybe last but not least, it should be considered that here, to make a successful business, you need to make a network of trust. So trust is something that is highly esteemed and highly appreciated, and it should be built over time and over your personal effort.
That's well said. Thank you, Rosetta. In fact, I'm seeing one of the questions that was written in to us via email. So I'll just take one more from there. This is regarding the skill development and education sector. So this also can be answered by all of our panelists today. How open is your country in terms of this sector, as in education and skill development, for international collaborations, as in companies coming from abroad in education?
Absolutely open from Italy.
Mm-hmm.
No limitation.
And how is, if you happen to gauge sort of the level of interest there is, or the need in the market for soft skills, education on soft skills? If anyone would like to take this.
If I understood correctly, your question is from someone in education that is interested to expand, I suppose, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, it depends again on the business idea. There are definitely opportunities, especially if, I mean, last year, one of the startups that came to Cyprus was also relating to education, and I'm interested to set up here and to promote, their platform. I mean, but nowadays also with online webinars and all of that, I don't know what is in the mind of the person who is asking, but there are opportunities. Definitely, it's a business model. There is a need for education always, and especially for skill specialization or competency. So it's again a matter of finding gaps in the market, for example, if they want to compete. But definitely, education is a big topic, and more and more people in Europe, especially, there is a high level of education, and people are still interested. Online vocational training as well, so there is big scope, I would say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, that answers the question, I suppose. Thank you, Xenia. One more question. So I believe this would be for Margarita. It's also about mobility within the EU. Margarita, so there is a person who wants to create a company in Lithuania, hire workers in the country, and then they would be on a payroll there in Lithuania, but they would like to send the workers to Poland. So is that something that is possible, this movement of employees to other countries?
And yes and no, we need to understand what kind of type of assignments actually will be assigned or chose. We need to understand if the company already planning or has the branch or entity established in Poland. So this is a lot of aspects, because you can play actually this immigration game with different type of assignments, and you need to understand how long you need to assign, how long you need to employ this person, what is the purpose of the visit. So this is the complex process. You need to understand priorities and strategy and business need, and then you can propose the best way. So this is not the general, because in immigration game, playing every detail is a very, very big role. So I think so this is individual questions, and if the business have the needs to screen all these things, we can support and help.
Right. Thank you, Margarita. There's one question. I believe this can be answered by Anvata. Someone wants to, someone is asking that if they want to maintain their blue card or startup visa in any of the EU countries that we're talking about, do they need to spend 180 days plus in a year to maintain that? Or do they, are they allowed to travel for more than 180 days?
All right. So with respect to this question, every single startup visa is different for different countries, and so is the case with EU blue cards as well. There is no one standard that has to be followed. And with respect to whether you have to maintain a particular residency requirement or not, it depends on the whether you want to go for renewal, whether you want to convert into permanent residency or citizenship, in which case your minimum stay requirements would be taken into account. But yes, you can travel on a Schengen visa for 90 or 180 days throughout the Schengen region, for sure. And of course, you can travel outside as well.
Thank you, Anvata.
I hope.
Great. I believe we've slightly gone over time, but since we had so many questions, I think we had to. To anyone whose questions were not answered by any chance, please get in touch with us at D Globalist. We are here to get into your specific queries one by one, and can get into the exact details afterwards. I would like to thank all of the panelists, our speakers that took the time and came up with these amazing points to educate us on the respective regions. From the Globalist team and partners, I would like to also extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for participating and actively engaging in this webinar. Whether you're considering Germany, Italy, Bulgaria, Cyprus, or Lithuania, or any other European countries as your expansion market, I trust that you have a clearer understanding of the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead now. Also, yes, as I was saying, the journey to international expansion, even if it seems complex, with the right knowledge and support, we can all navigate it successfully. So the team at D Globalist is here to assist on every step, whether you need legal advice, immigration assistance, strategic guidance for expansion plans. So we are available on varun.jami at dglobalist.com. All of the clients, anyone who needs assistance, please reach out on this email address. And I would, in fact, encourage you to stay connected and leverage the resources that we have to achieve your business goals. So thank you so much again.